The dust has now settled on the NFL draft, and the Detroit Lions are faster on defense, thanks to the addition of Florida speedster Jarrad Davis to man the middle of their defense. However, with an improving division and a tough schedule in 2017, where exactly does Detroit stack up? I spent the afternoon chatting with Michael Stets, a WJR radio host for the Lions, to get you up to date on everything you need to know about the team that mans the gridiron in the Motor City. Michael, first of all, we want to take a few minutes and welcome you to the Two-Man Advantage podcast, and we're excited to talk some Detroit Lions football with you this afternoon.
Absolutely, man. It's great to be a part of the show.
So when we look at the draft, Michael, obviously Bob Quinn had a mandate or an objective that he had that he wanted to accomplish in getting faster on defense, particularly at linebacker. So I'm just wondering, what were your initial thoughts of the overall draft for the Lions?
I thought they did well. I mean, look, a lot of people, the first thing that sticks out to them is there's no sexy names, there's no big, huge stud players, but at the end of the day, I think Bob Quinn has done what he needed to do. He's gotten players to that are going to play, that are going to perform, that are going to be additions, especially to the defense. And obviously a huge need was linebacker, and they filled the need there. Jarrad Davis from Florida, one of the most athletic linebackers in the draft. He should 100% be a day one starter. So I think that fills a huge need there. They got help in the secondary, and they got help at receiver, and they got help at tight end in Toledo's Michael Roberts, who, while he's not a pass catcher akin to Eric Ebron, he's a guy that they can put in line and help the blocking, which they need because, as you well know, the running game has been dreadful. So with the free agent additions, don't forget, of T.J. Lang and Ricky Wagner, they had a big tight end in the draft that can block, and they also added Darren Fells. So I think Quinn did a great job with the draft of getting guys. And if you look at the draft last season, Kevin, they had all players they drafted played a lot. So I think Quinn did a good job.
There certainly seems to be a plan of action unlike other administrations, but that's another story for another day. Can you also tell me, one of the criticisms of this draft was that they didn't take a running back with any of their picks? Obviously, Bob Quinn said that he was comfortable with the position, so I was just wondering your thoughts on the Lions not taking a running back.
Yeah, that was another hot topic. Why didn't they take it back? And Quinn had stated, like you said, that he's very happy with what they have. And listen, Abdullah, when healthy, is a very effective back. Now, obviously, the numbers say otherwise because he hasn't been able to stay healthy and stay on the field. And Theo Riddick, as we know, he's not a bell cow. He's not a workhorse. He's more of a pass catcher out of the backfield. But if those two guys are healthy, they present a lot of matchup problems for teams. And look at the first game last year. I know you can never go crazy with the first game of any NFL season, but they put up a lot of points against Indianapolis, and I know, or I find Indianapolis not the greatest defense in the world, but that offense was clicking and clicking well with Abdullah and Riddick in it, both healthy. So if they stay healthy, they could prove otherwise with the additions of the offensive line. Now, I would have liked to have seen them, Kevin, get a banger later on in the draft. I thought Connor from Pittsburgh would have been a nice addition. I thought Perrine, the Oklahoma State back, would have been a nice addition to pair up, especially depth-wise, because you're worried if Abdullah Riddick get injured. I mean, Abdullah missed, I think, 14 games last year. I think he was injured week 2, and Riddick missed, I think, the final 6 or 7 games. So that would have been a nice addition. There's still going to be some guys available come training camp, but you have to trust their decision. But yeah, I'm not going to. I wasn't outraged like many people that they didn't get it back, because if those guys are healthy, they are effective. But I would have liked to have seen them at least take a back in the later rounds. And also, too, don't forget there's Dwayne Washington in the mix as well.
Now, when we also look at other offseason headlines, one of the other ones this offseason that everyone will be watching is whether or not Matthew Stafford gets a long-term extension. It's something that the organization wants done, certainly, and certainly something Matthew would want for security as well. So can you give me your thoughts on where things stand on getting Matthew locked up long-term?
Yeah, so far the initial talk that when Bob Quinn has been asked this offseason is that they are in the early stages of discussions as far as Stafford's contract goes. If you want my personal opinion, I say pay the man. He's one of the better quarterbacks in the league, and everyone will say no championships, no playoff wins, but to have a good quarterback that can lead your club, you can't put a price on it, especially in today's NFL. And Stafford has proven time and time again that he's a leader of this team, and he's played well. And Tom Brady's and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees' of the world don't grow on trees. Stafford is not in the upper tier like those guys, but he's one of the better quarterbacks in the league. He's putting up consistently good numbers. And the guy's carried the team on his back at times the last few seasons. So I say pay the man. I think you will get a big contract, especially with the going rate of Andrew Luck's big deal last season. And also Derek Carr, the Oakland Raiders, is due for a big payday as well. So I think you'll hear more of that as training camp unwinds. And they'll probably, I would guess, have something done before the season starts.
What do you think is the key for Matthew to take the next step in his career along with the team? What do you think they have to do to get over the hump and actually win some playoff games?
I mean, I think first and foremost, they got to stay healthy as a team. I mean, they were 9-7. They had a disappointing, horrendous game against Seattle, right? But that team was banged up all year. I mean, they were missing Abdullah, they were missing Riddick, Eric Ebron missed games, Ziggy Ansah missed 3 games, but he battled that high ankle sprain for the remainder of the year. He wasn't himself. He only had 2 sacks. I mean, I think first and foremost, if Stafford gets to lead a fully healthy squad, that's one. 2, he's got to get some help in the running game. I mean, they can't keep finishing in the bottom of the league in running-wise. He needs some help there. So I think with a healthy team, and Stafford, so you had like 8 or 9 come from behind. I think he had 8 come from behind victories last year out of the 9 victories overall. So I think getting that team healthy, and Stafford's going to continue to play well and put some points on the board. And the defense could also turn the ball over more and give him more opportunities for him in the offense as well. They only had, I think, 10 interceptions in the season last year and not a lot of overall turnovers. So I think you can't just be one guy. A quarterback doesn't win a Super Bowl by himself. He needs a team around him. And for the Lions to get their first playoff win since 1991, I think they need a healthy squad and some better play overall, not just better play from Stafford.
Now, when we look at other offseason headlines, you'll be taking a look at as we trend towards training camp. What do you think we should all keep our eye on to see in terms of storylines or position battles as they unfold this offseason?
There's a couple of really good position battles, Kevin. I think the defensive end opposite of Ziggy Ansah, of course, Kerry Hyder led the team last year with 8 sacks, and you would think he'd be penciled in at day one, but they also have Armonte Bryant, who was in the rotation, who came over last year, and he did really well as well. Then you have Cornelius Washington from the Chicago Bears they signed as a free agent. He's going to add into the mix, so I think that's one position battle. And the other is the wide receiver course. Yeah, you have Anquan Bolden likely not to return, so you're going to have a battle for the 3rd spot, and you'll have a battle for the 4th spot. So the only returnees are Golden Tate and Marvin Jones. So you have Jace Billingsley that played well in last year's training camp, was on the practice squad. T.J. Jones, they drafted Kenny Galladay, who will be in the mix for the number 3 slot. So I think that'll be an interesting position battle too. So training camp's going to be fun this year. There's going to be a lot of guys getting after it, trying to win to get a spot.
Now, 2-part question for you to end this. When you look at the Lions defense, obviously they wanted to get faster, and I think they've done that through the draft with the additions they've made to the linebacking core specifically. But where do you see the defense taking us to step up this year? And if you had to make an early season prediction, how many games do you think the Lions will win this year?
I think the defense can only go up. I like the addition also, too, of the other linebacker, Reeves-Maybin. I think he will help speed-wise. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Tahir Whitehead, who manned the middle last year. Obviously, DeAndre Levy not with the team anymore and didn't play due to injury. I mean, he only played a handful of games last year, so they lose a leader as well. I also like the San Diego pick, Agnew. He can also return kicks. He could get in the mix. I know they added DJ Hayden, a free agent cornerback. Slay, is going to play well. Clover Quinn has been one of the best and most consistent players on that defense at safety. But I think that the additions, especially in the draft, especially with Jarrad Davis, will make an impact. And I really think with having a middle linebacker that can run sideline to sideline and add overall speed, because I mean last year it was are you a fantasy sports guy, Kev?
A little bit, yeah.
I mean it was every week it was like start the opposing tight end Lions
against the Lions. Yeah.
Yeah, the tight ends really abused the linebackers last year, so I think having some speed there will certainly help. And again, I go back to health. Ziggy Ansah, him healthy is a big difference. I mean, you're talking about the team's best pass rusher. So having him there, I think they can certainly make some improvements, but they got to turn the ball over. And, again, all these things we can talk to were Honolulu blue in the face, as they say, but they got to play the games. I looked over the schedule when it came out, and they got a pretty tough start playing the Giants week 2, Falcons week 3, then their first divisional matchup against the Vikings, who are improving. They got the Panthers, Saints on the road again. I mean, Steelers. They got their work cut out for them. But I would peg them right around that 8-8, 9-7, fighting to earn a wild card spot in the last week of the season. I think it'll be similar to last year. I think they'll be right around there fighting to get in.
Do you think it'll be enough to keep Jim Caldwell around for another year?
I know a lot of people have called for Caldwell's job, but when you're around the team and you see the way the players play for him, and you see the affinity they have for him, you understand why he's still in the position he's in. And also last year he deserved a lot of credit for keeping that team, on the right track and coming back from a losing streak and finding a way to rattle off wins and through all those injuries, earning a playoff bid. Now I know patience is thin here in Detroit. No Super Bowl. They haven't won a playoff game since '91. So I understand the fans' displeasure in the lack of patience. I think if they're right around there, he stays. But if they have a bomb of a season, and they go 5-11 or 6-10, then yeah, he could certainly be out of a job for sure. That's the NFL. That's the way it is. You don't win and you lose your job.
Well, it's a what have you done for me lately business for sure. But hopefully the Lions can build on their success from a season ago. And Michael, we want to take some time to thank you for your insight and for joining us this afternoon on the Two-Man Advantage podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate you having me on, Kevin. All the best to you, my man.